YouTube. We're back again. We are drifting.
The final drive ratio all sorted with the new gear ratio set and the nice ball diff that gives the extra adjustability of slip in the rear. The final thing I wanted to do was get it on my alignment rack, check all of the factory specs and make a note of all of the settings that I am currently running, the caster, camber, positions of all the arms, what spaces are where. And now that I've made a note of all of those things on these handy setup sheets that you can download off the MST website, we are ready to move forward with some more modifications. And to start off with, I'm going to be upgrading the steering and fitting some turnbuckles. But before we move into the modification, I wanted to quickly show you guys, these are the specs that come with the ready to run, so feel free to pause that and have a look at everything in more depth. These are the specs that I found the classic Rmx kit to be once I'd built the kit. So I'll let you guys pause that there and have a look at the differences. This is the spec sheet for the 2.0 S, and there's a few differences on there as well. And as of now, this is what my current specs are. On the MST site, I also found this handy printout that explains how you can change the steering settings for a default or an enlarged Ackerman. I'm not entirely sure why you'd want to have an enlarged Ackerman. If anyone can explain that to me, please let me know in the comments. And although it says there step 3, rear caster angle setting, they're actually talking about the front caster. So you can see there by changing the spacers round, and it tells you there which is which. So just to zoom in on that, because this is the most interesting bit for me, is all three of them, all of the specs including what I'm currently running, all favour 8 degrees caster. So that's a 2mm spacer at the rear and 1mm spacer at the front. Right, let's move on to the modifications, and let's start with the turnbuckles. And there we have our new turnbuckle kit. You can see there what the product code is. I've gone with the red shaft set because I think it'll offset nicely. These are aluminium. I have, since purchasing these, heard that they can be quite soft, and if you're prone to crashing, then you may well bend or even snap these. but if you don't intend to do that kind of thing, you should probably be alright. Obviously the faster you're going, the more devastating a crash could be, and there is much stronger alternatives available in hardened steel and also like titanium as well, I do believe. Right, so let's get this all open and spread out, have a look at the instructions and go from there. The instructions are very simple. It tells you the steering adjuster assembly, the size of everything. Right in the middle there, 14.2 is the gap that you want between the two turnbuckle arms, and then you've got the front upper arm assembly, so it tells you there the size of the one that you're going to use, and then again the distance between the inner part of the arm and the ball end, and also the rear upper turnbuckle assembly. Yet again tells you the distance that you need, and we get all new turnbuckles, ball ends, everything all good to go. So let's get everything spread out and I'll get back to you. So with them all laid out, the only ball ends we're actually going to use are the medium style ones. The 36mm turnbuckles here at the top are for the rear upper. The 25mm turnbuckles are going to be what's replacing the steering adjuster assembly, and the small 20mm turnbuckles we're going to be using with our existing arms instead of the spacers and threaded rod that is currently there. As always, MST loves to give us some spares. Whenever installing these, it's best to screw them right down, bottom them right out, and then wind them back out again. So let's get them all wound up and get everything ready to install. So with the turnbuckles all wound right the way in, so the threads are wound right the way in, and leaving the front upper turnbuckles off, we'll do them on the car, and using my 4mm on my turnbuckle adjuster and my nice hoodie ball end holder to get them all fitted. Let's put these to one side and prep the chassis ready to accept these. So starting with the front end, first of all we're just going to pop off the ball ends and get that hub out of the way. With the steering arm and the hub all popped off, we are ready to unscrew the ball end and take off the spacers and the threaded rods into the top of this top arm. And with the ball end and the 7mm spacer, you can see there with a 1.5mm hex, we can just remove the threaded bar from the top arm. And now with that turnbuckle installed, we can go ahead and install the upper ball end and get ready for reassembly. And with the front end turnbuckles all fitted up and adjusted, we can move on to the back. Now, although the rear end is only the top turnbuckle there, we are going to need to remove those two screws to release the mounting points for the rear damper stay. and then also pop the ball ends off at the hubs so we can move them forward to undo the screws just there behind the spur gear. There's just simply no room to get there on that side. Once that is removed, you can see got loads of access to that bolt now. There's one fitted, the other one still to come off. And now that the turnbuckles are fitted front to back, it's time to get it back onto the alignment rack to fine tune and make sure all the settings are correct. So with the alignment rack refitted, we are ready to check our settings and make sure that our camber, caster and toe front to rear are all set to our desired specification. You can see at the back here, I had to take off the calipers for the alignment plates to fit on the hubs. Simply just use a 1.5mm Allen to take them off, and also my wheel nuts were a 5.5mm nut. The rear is set to 2 degrees negative camber. And the rear is set to 3 degrees toe in. The front camber can be adjusted with these front toe arms using a 4mm turnbuckle wrench. The toe can be adjusted using the steering arm link. And on the rear, the camber is adjusted using the top arm link. And with this static setup, the only way to change the toe is by changing these toe blocks or toe straps for different sized ones. All of these toe straps, which there are 4, 2 front, 2 back, are all -2 except for the rearmost toe strap, which is a +1. So -2 plus your +1. With this basic setup, the only way to adjust the toe is with these toe blocks. You simply swap them out for different degree ones to get the toe that you desire. So now we've gone through and checked that all of our alignment is correct, fine-tuned everything and made sure everything is absolutely precise and equal side to side. We can now stick the wheels back on, stick the shell on, and now we can head back down to the track and test out with the new settings.